Alright, we're back. Today we're gonna see the KYBALION, very powerful book. The KYBALION, a study of the Hermetic philosophy of ancient Egypt and Greece by 3 initiates. And here we got the quote. The lips of wisdom are closed, except to the ears of understanding, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. The Yogi Publication Society of Masonic Temple, Chicago. Alright, let's go. To Hermes Trismegistus, known by the ancient Egyptian as the Great and Master of Masters. This little volume of Hermetic teaching is violently dedicated. On the chapter, we're going to see a few of them. 7 Hermetic principles. Let's start with the introduction. We take great pleasure in presenting to the attention of students and investigators of the secret doctrine this little work based upon the world-old Hermetic teaching. There has been so little written upon this subject, notwithstanding the countless reference to the teaching in the many works upon occultism, that the many earned searcher after the arcane truth will doubtless welcome the appearance of the present volume. The purpose of this work is not the enunciation of any special philosophy or doctrine, but rather is to give to the student a statement of truth that will serve to reconcile the many bits of occult knowledge that they may acquire, but which are apparently opposed to each other and which often serve to discourage and disgust the beginner in the study. Our student is not to erect a new temple of knowledge, but rather to place in the hand of the student a master key, with which he may open the many inner doors in the temple of mystery to the main portal he has already entered. There is no portion of the occult teaching possessed by the world which have been so closely guarded as the fragment of the Hermetic teaching which have come down to us over the 10th century, which have elapsed since the lifetime of its great founder, Hermes Trismegistus, the scribe of the gods, who dwelled in old Egypt in the day when the present race of man was in its infancy. Contemporary with Abraham, and the legend, if the legend is be true, an instructor of that venerable sage. Hermes was and is the great central sun of occultism, whose way have served to illuminate the countless teachings which have been promulgated since his time. All the fundamental and basic teaching embedded in the esoteric teaching of every race may be traced back to Hermes. Even the most ancient teaching of India undoubtedly have their roots in the original Hermetic teaching. From the land of the Ganges, many advanced occultists wandered to the land of Egypt and sat at the feet of the master. For him to be obtained the master key, which explained and reconciled their divination view, and thus the secret doctrine was firmly established. From other lands also came the learned one, all of whom regarded Hermes as the master of masters, and his influence was great that in spite of many wandering on the part of centuries of teachers in these different lands, there may still be found a certain basic resemblance and correspondence which underlie the many and often quite divergent theory entertained and taught by the occultists of these different lands today. The student of comparative religion will be able to perceive the influence of the Hermetic teaching in every religion worthy of the name. Like we know, in all religion is the same wisdom but with different archetype, but it's the same principle and the same wisdom that is always given time after time, cycle after cycle. and he came back to the roots of the KYBALION and MS. Know to man whether it be dead religion or one in full vigor in our own time, there is always a certain correspondence in spite of the contradictory feature, and the Hermetic teaching acts as a great reconciler. The life work of Hermes seems to have been in the direction of planting the great seed truth, which has grown and blossomed in so many strange forms, rather than to establish the school of philosophy which will dominate the world through thought. But nevertheless, the original truth taught by him have been kept intact in their original purity by a few men in each age, who were fusing great number of half-developed students and followers, followed by the Hermetic custom and reserved their truth for the few who were ready to comprehend and master it. From lip to ear, the truth has been handed down among the few. There have always been a few initiates in each generation, in the various lands of earth, who kept alive the sacred flame of the Hermetic teaching. And such have always been willing to use their lamps to relight the lesser lamp of the outside world when the light of truth grew dim and clouded by reason and of neglect. And when the weak became clouded with foreign matter, there were always a few to tend faithfully the altar of the truth, upon which was kept alight the perpetual lamp of wisdom. Powerful. These men devoted their life to the labor of love, which the poet has so well dated in his line. Oh, let not the flame die out, cherish age after age in the dark cavern. In its holy temple cherish, feed by pure minister of love, let not the flame die out. These men have never sought popular approval, nor number of followers. They are indifferent to this thing, for they know how few there are in each generation who are ready for the truth, or who would recognize it if they were presented to them. They reserve the strong meat for men, while others furnish the milk for babes. Let me repeat, they reserve the strong meat for men, while others furnish the milk for babes. They reserve their pearl of wisdom for the few elect, who recognize their value and who wear them in their crown, instead of casting them before the materialistic, vulgar swine, who will trample them in the mud and mix them with their disgusting mental food. But still, these men have never forgotten or overlooked the original teaching of Hermes regarding the passing on the awe of the word of truth to those ready to perceive it, to receive it, which teaching is stated in the KYBALION as follows: "We follow the footstep of the Master, the ear of those ready for his teaching open wide." And again, when the ear of the student are ready to hear, then command the lips to fill them with wisdom. Yeah, it's very about the journey. But their customary attitude has always been strictly in accordance with the other Hermetic aphorism. Also in the KYBALION, the lips of wisdom are closed, except to the ears of understanding. There are those who have criticized this attitude of the Hermetists, and who have claimed that they did not manifest proper spirit in their policy and seclusion and reticence. But a moment glance back over the page of history will know the wisdom of the Master, who knew the folly of attempting to teach to the world that which is neither ready or willing to receive. The Hermetists have never sought to be martyrs, and have instead sat silently aside with a pitying smile on their closed lips, while the heathen raged nausea about them. In their customary amusement of putting to death and torture the honest but misguided enthusiast, we imagine that they could force upon a race of barbarians, the truth capable of being understood only by the elect, who had advanced along the path. Yeah, it's all about the spiritual journey, about seeking for truth, wisdom, and follow your own path. And the spirit of persecution has not as yet died out in the land. There are certain hermetic teachings which, in publicity promulgated, will bring down upon the teacher as a great cry of scorn and revealment for the multitude, who would again raise the cry of crucify, crucify. In this little work, we have endeavored to give you an idea of the fundamental teaching of the KYBALION, striving to give you the working principle, leaving you to apply them yourself, rather than attempting to work out the teaching in detail. If you are a true student, you will be able to work out and apply this principle. If not, then you must develop yourself into one. For otherwise, the hermetic teaching will be as word to you. The true initiate